Hey guys, how is it going? Today we are going to talk about recession proofing your business. We're going to talk about all things related to economic crisis and economic downturns and bubbles and booms and busts and all of the things related to that. Because number one, I think it's super important that you guys all learn about it and you all know about it in order to be prepared, right? So I am trying to find notes that I have and I'm struggling to find them. So just give me a minute. I would love if you guys want to jump in the chat, introduce yourselves so everybody knows who you are. I think that would be a awesome way to start this. So everybody could say hi. I really decided to start these kind of like Zoom calls in replacement of doing the Facebook lives because I wanted it to be more intimate. I wanted it to be a place where we could actually like really connect, right? And get to know each other and almost like a networking opportunity as well. Like don't stay silent because you don't know who's in this room who might be able to learn from you as well. I want you to stay muted, but don't stay silent in the chat, right? Introduce yourself to me. And for those of you who don't know me, my name's Alyssa. Hi. I just got out of the gym and I'm sweating to death because there's no air conditioning in my office, which I learned that like today. So it's very hot in here. I started a successful accounting business and then pivoted into the marketing space. And now I teach people how to grow their business. Yes. We have Lily Newhouse in here. She's one of our coaches in our Moneymaker Mastermind program. All right, so we're going to talk about economic bubbles and downturns. I'm going to cover a couple things. We're going to cover today why certain companies have thrived in recessions, what they have done in order to thrive in recessions, and what we can learn from them. We are also going to talk about the 5 steps that you can take to stay competitive in your market. And then we are going to talk about why the recession might be good for the economy, why I think it's good for our companies right now where they are. And we have Allie here, so I'm going to make Allie the host so she can monitor the room for me. Oh, wait a second. Yep, make co-host. So thank you so much. All right, yes. And if you're just jumping in, make sure you introduce yourself. I did tell everybody, I really want this to be a space where we're going to get together weekly. I want people to get to know you. I want this to be an opportunity for you guys to network and get to know each other because you don't know who in this room might be your next potential client, right? So number one, I want to talk about this idea of economic bubbles and what this really means. So yeah, I'm on the right page. So economic bubbles, basically what happens is, it took me a bit to find the link because I hadn't registered yet. Oops. So our economy right now is experiencing a bubble, right? And it's positive for social impact, truthfully, mostly because it facilitates innovation, right? It encourages people to become entrepreneurs, which how many of you, can you guys let me know in the comments, how many of you actually became entrepreneurs in this last bubble, right? As it was blowing up, 2019, 2020, 21, right? Many of us became entrepreneurs during that time. It actually created a perfect environment for us to do so because, well, number one, COVID, but number two, so much money was being pushed into the economy that it gave us the capital to do things and take risks we otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. It also produces new tech innovations, right? So we saw Apple, Microsoft, I'm trying to think, fiber optic cable. So, I think I wrote some other people down here, right? Railways, automobile, fiber optic, the dot-com bubble, right? E-com, exactly. So all of these things were actually all created in economic bubbles. So it's a really great thing for our economy. But what happens is that as we expand and as the bubble expands, more people utilize more resources, and it actually creates a waste of resources. So we're seeing this right now. We're seeing the housing market, right? If you look at the housing market as it is today, the housing market is being bought up. There is very little housing left for people, which is increasing the demand that increases the prices, right? And that's how economics works, crazy economics. Where the waste is coming in is we're seeing hedge funds and corporations buying these houses so they can be profitable off of them, right? And so quick story, I was at my dad's lake house this past week, and I go there often. And as I'm at the lake house, we always do these like boat rides up Cayuga Lake. It's really beautiful. And there are hundreds of beautiful homes right on the lake. What is so strange though, is you don't see anybody in them. Never. There's no cars, there's no boats, just these houses that exist. They're not for sale, but no one's ever there, right? Why is that, right? Because these houses are being used as assets, as properties, because the wealthiest people in the world are buying them up, right? And so now we have Airbnb, also created during recession, right? Airbnb was created in 2007, 2008. Airbnb was created during a recession time. People are Airbnb-ing their houses, right? So these people with money, the wealthiest people in the world, are buying more assets, more houses in order to continue to build their wealth. So just giving you some backstory on these like economic bubbles, how they're good, how it becomes a potential waste of resources, and how all of this starts to collapse, right? So we have the boom, we have the bubble beginning to be created, and then eventually it has to burst. So the term bubble is actually a term that's coined by William Shakespeare. This is super interesting stuff. And William Shakespeare used the term bubble to describe something that was fragile, empty, and worthless, right? And we also started using the term bubble for the economy when we saw this huge growth and then the bust, right? We boom and then bust in our economic downturns. So why did we start using this? Because not only do we see, so it's bubbles are really positive for the social, because for our social impact, because of all the things we just talked about, right? Provides more capital. What also happens is more businesses are actually created that are empty, fragile, worthless, right? And so how many people have started businesses? How many people have you watched create businesses that you know are complete bullshit over the last 3 years? Probably quite a few of you, right? You're looking around and you're like, how are those people making money? How are they doing that? And we see that happening. We see these bullshit companies that they're charging way too much. They're sometimes complete scams, right? We see them doing this. Why is it okay? Why do they get away with it? Because people are less likely to, or they're more likely to spend money more easily because they have more of it, right? So these businesses that are thriving in this bubble because people are more free with their capital, they're more free with their cash, they're more likely to spend, and they don't take a lot of time to consider spending their money. They're like, yeah, sure, here's $10,000, here's $5,000, I don't care, yeah, take it. And then they don't get the results they want, and they're upset, but it hasn't impacted, it hasn't caught up with that company because people are so much more free to let their money go. Now, this is where I get into why are recessions, why is an economic downturn, or when the bubble busts, why is that good for us? Because the people in this room right now, we're the ones who have businesses that are not empty. They are not fragile. They're not worthless, right? We're providing results for real people. We're doing the good work we need to be doing. We're making an impact. We're sticking to our word, right? We're making smart choices. So, in my opinion, this is going to be good for us, specifically in the coaching industry. I don't think the bullshit coaches are going to get away with the shit much longer, right? I don't think that they're going to be able to sustain the economic downturn long term. So let's look at it this way. If Joe Schmo has a crappy business, he's really offering like these surface level results, nobody's really getting what they said they were going to get. And then you look at somebody like, let's say, Alyssa J. Dillon, right? And now somebody who's going to be a little tighter with their money because they see the recession happening, right? They're a little more scared. They're a little more diligent about doing research. They're not going to give it away so quickly. They're going to do their research. And when they do their research, they're going to find that Joe Schmo doesn't really have a lot of testimonials. Joe Schmo isn't really like, there's not much out there about him. In fact, I found some content about Joe Schmo and the fact that he sucks after I did my research. And when I researched Alyssa J. Dillon, well, she's been around the block. She has tons of testimonials on her website, right? Tons of 5-star reviews. And I could do more research. And then because I want to get to know Alyssa a little more, I'm going to start showing up and hanging out with her a little more often. I'm going to go get on her free calls, right? I'm going to consume her content before I make a decision about who I want to work with. And so that's where I believe the people who are in the game to make a real impact, who really want to change people's lives, we are going to thrive in a recession. If that is not your goal, to make a real impact, to change people's lives, to get people real results, you will not be sustainable, right? And also get off my call, because that's bullshit, right? I don't hang out with people like that. So furthermore, what are the things that we can do right now, right? I'm going to give you guys 5 things that you could do right now. I'm not going to take all day, but relatively quickly. What are 5 things we can start doing right now in order to start making these changes and be prepared for this potential recession? And truthfully, like, I'm going to call it, I think we're already in a recession. I do. I think we're going to hear in like 6 months that the recession started in June 2022, right? Because I'm feeling it. How am I feeling it, right? How am I feeling it? There was a time not so long ago where you couldn't go anywhere without seeing money. Like, you were just tripping over money everywhere. You were tripping over customers. People wanted to pay you all over the place. It was very easy to get clients. So not quite as easy anymore, right? People are already starting to slowly pull back. This is caused by, obviously, lack of resources, the obvious oil prices, right? The supply chain is really struggling, or whatever the reason we don't have food on the shelves. I don't know. I haven't gotten that deep into all of that, but these are some of the things that we're seeing happening. And of course, I lost my notes page, so just give me a second. Okay, so number 1, marketing. I am going to talk about marketing. Shocking, right? So this is going to market right now. If you have not dialed in on your marketing strategy to, like, you know who your client is, you know your marketing message, you know how to get people through your pipeline, Like if you haven't dialed that in to the fullest extent yet, this is the time to work on it, you guys. And I'm gonna give you some information why. I'm gonna read directly off of something. So, okay. Blog. I'm going to share this blog with you. So one of my mentors shared this blog with me. I'm going to share it with you guys, and I'm going to read a direct quote from it. So there is both anecdotal and empirical evidence that support the case that advertising is the main factor in the growth or downfall of companies during the Great Depression. To put it bluntly, companies that demonstrated the most growth and that rang up the most sales were those who were advertising heavily. Interesting information, right? So in the 1920s, Ford was outselling Chevrolet 10-1. And when the Depression hit, Ford cut back on their advertising. They cut back on their spending for marketing. They just cut back completely, right? And when they did that, Chevrolet doubled down on their marketing. They doubled down on being visible. And by 1931, Chevrolet was the #1 car maker in the United States. Right. Similarly, 1920, Camel was the top cigarette in America. In 1929, Lucky Strike became the #1 brand. And by 1931, Chesterfield overtook Camel as well. Right. How did Camel respond to this? They put a dramatic increase in their ad spend that led them to regaining their bestseller status by 1935. Doubling down on marketing. So what does this tell you? It tells us that the people who pulled out, right? They pulled back on their marketing efforts. They pulled back on their advertising efforts. They made decisions based off fear. We're going to talk about that. They made decisions based off fear. They started to pull away, save money. Those are the people who are making less money, right? So there's an obvious correlation, and it makes sense, right? It makes sense. And here's the thing, coming from a financial background, you guys, I saw this happen over and over again. I was the CFO of a company in the recession. And guess what we did? We made a very poor choice. We pulled back on marketing efforts. What was the first to go? When we didn't have the money, we cut marketing. Looking back, I would advise myself now, 2007, 2008, 2009, Alyssa, I'd be like, don't do that. That's a very bad decision, right? But I didn't know any better. I didn't have anyone telling me any better, right? I didn't have a me to you guys as a mentor saying, don't do that. This is the time to double down. This is when you need to be visible. So there's another quote in the blog, because so many companies cut spending during the Great Depression era, advertising budgets were largely eliminated in many industries. Not only did spending decline, but some companies actually dropped out of public sight, right? Advertising cutbacks caused many customers to feel abandoned, and they associated the brands that cut back on advertising as a lack of staying power. This not only drove customers to more aggressive competitors, but it also caused financial mistrust when it came to making additional investments in no longer visible companies. So what do we need to do, friends? We need to be more visible than ever. Doubling down on visibility. Let's go. Paula White, thank you. So how do we do that? Right? We don't want, I'm like bashing about this stuff. We don't want to have a lack of trust in markets, right? We don't want to become less visible. I have an internet connection is unstable. So if I lose you guys, I'll be right back. Hopefully I don't. So how do we do that, right? How do we get visible? What are we doing right now? Make sure that we are getting visible to our market single day. You know what? You're the plan. Be consistent, even when it is hard to do the work. Get back to being consistent, right? And so I made a decision, and you right now, I decision that I am seeing economic impact. I double down on my own marketing efforts. I keep cutting out. Oh, I hope my internet gets back to good. I've never had bad internet at my office, and today I do. So far. Decided that I wouldn't just show up but I was guys in a time where there is instability, right? And so that's what I'm doing. Find a place, if you're going to for your people, how can you create an environment that shows that you're going to be stable, you're going to be strong, that you're going to put out. I wonder if I switch over to my. Turn my video off. I don't know if that will actually help. I might just switch over to my phone. Oh, sorry, guys. The last 4 minutes, you haven't been able to hear me. Boo. You think turning off the video helped? Oh, what a boring video. Okay. Okay, so it will show up clear on the replay. I hope so. Okay, so create a place. I'm not sure I could start over. I don't remember what I talked about. Well, I was like, start over. When I do these, I feel like I'm in a place where it's like, oh, everything I just said was was just coming out of my mouth, right? So you guys are seeing, great, it's clear now, perfect. So you guys are seeing the impact, like my thought process on what happened, right? So I'm seeing the economic impact this is making, and I thought, okay, how do I double down? What does that look like for my company? Because I'm already feeling it, right? How do I become somebody that offers stability in an unstable environment? The irony of this entire talk is that my internet was also unstable while I was talking about it. So you're seeing that right now. I decided, instead of just showing up once in a while to do a quick like live in my Facebook group, I would actually create a meeting. I would create something that's consistent, where I could mentor people that needed it, that needed somebody to be the light, that needed somebody to be positive, that needed somebody to bring them value on a consistent basis, to have good conversations and create community completely for free, right? And why would I do that, right? Why would I create this thing completely for free when there's other people that are saying, no, in order to get any access to me, I charge, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm not here just to build profit, right? I'm not here just to create revenue. I'm here to make an impact. I'm here to be somebody that people will remember through the rest of this recession, right? And even if the people today don't invest with me, I have a belief that anyone who gets on these Zoom calls eventually will. because I've been the one that's helping them when they needed somebody to help them, right? And so here's what I'm going to tell you guys, and what I've told my highest level clients in my mastermind. I am willing to do the shit that other people in my industry will not do. And I have seen people pull away from creating free content because whatever, it's no longer aligned with them or whatever it is. And I believe that that's going to hurt them in the long run, right? I believe that in a time right now, we need people who have staying power, who are consistent, who are helping people and supporting them, because those are going to be the people that are remembered at the end of the day, right? So, marketing. Second part of this is getting super clear on who you are talking to in your content, right? This is a time to get your messaging clearer. If it is not clear, I need you to work on it. How do you get clear on your marketing? You infiltrate your market. And when I say market, that's kind of a bullshit term. It is what it is, but your market is the people, right? Double down on getting to know your people at a more intimate level. So who are you talking to? Get clear on what result you can provide them, how you get them that result, and why you're the person that they should work with over anybody else, right? What do they need more than anything? How can you do this? Number one, research. Right? There is a complete lack of research amongst marketers, people who are trying to market themselves. I don't know why, but no one sees the value in research anymore. Or maybe they never did, or maybe nobody's told them how important it is. Whatever it is, research. I can tell you every single one of my competitors. I can tell you what their offers look like. I can tell you how they speak to people. I can tell you how they got their businesses started. I could tell you what their messaging looks like, right? I could tell you what their marketing strategies look like. I could tell you exactly what their sales pages say, because I made that my business, right? So I research my market from a competition standpoint. What are they doing? And how can I do the opposite? How can I do something they're unwilling to do? Number two, I market or I research my people. I have conversations. If you are not having conversations every single day with somebody who is your ideal client, somebody that you would love to see hire you tomorrow, be doing more than that. There's no better way to get in touch with what people want and who they are at their core and at a deeper level than just having conversations with them. When I first got started, I did this by just having coffee chats. I went out to coffee with people, right? It doesn't have to be anything super complicated. You could jump on Zoom calls with people. Okay, so those are marketing, getting to know your people, cash flow. Pay attention to your cash flow. This is the time to do it right now. So this is number three. Number three, cash flow. I can tell you two things that I do every single day to ensure we're in a position that I will be financially stable, even if I see our business take a hit through a recession, which I don't actually believe will happen, but I'm not going to be a dummy and be naive to it either, right? I have no way of knowing exactly what will happen, but two things I'm doing every single day. Number one, I look at our cash balances every single day, and I look at every single transaction that goes out, in or out. If there is something on that transaction list that goes out that I do not think is making an impact to us making more money in this moment, we cancel it. This isn't something that I just started doing. This is something I've been doing for over a year, right? I am very, very in touch with my cash flow. I need to know exactly what's happening at all times, so we never get into a place where we find ourselves not having the cash that we need. Number two, Find out exactly how much money you need to make every single month. Paula says, why the hell am I not doing that? I'm not sure. Find out how much money you need to make. What are your fixed and variable expenses? How much money do you need to make every single month? Have a plan to make that consistently, right? Your worst case scenario. How can you make sure that you can make that every single month? Number two, keep cash, right? So this is a time, yes, you can invest in yourself. Yes, you could spend money. Am I saying that you should go put, you know, $200,000 down on something that maybe like a house or whatever, if you're not really in a position to do it? Maybe I wouldn't do that, right? Keep cash. Make sure that you have enough cash. I am aiming to have enough cash in our accounts that could get us through 1 year, right? I don't currently have that, mostly because I've invested in events and I've invested in other things, but I believe that I can get us to that point in the next few months here, right? So 1 year, that is what my goal is. So keep your cash, have some cash on hand. Know that you can get through a couple months if you needed to. And I know that's hard. Like, here's the thing. I know that's a challenging thing to say when inflation is crazy, right? You're having a hard time actually saving money because everything's more expensive. So it's like, yeah, it's really nice to say that, Alyssa. It's really nice to say, sure, keep cash. But again, this is a time where it's like, create cash. If you're feeling the crunch already, create cash, double down on your marketing right now, right? Find out why you're not getting more clients right now. Okay, so any questions about anything that I have said so far? So number 4, I'm going to tell you, oh, Chris, go ahead.
I'm gonna start my video. Sorry, I just woke up. That's why my camera was off. But you said to get to know your clients, right? And your customers. But the problem is my I have kind of a following. The thing is, the followers are not my ideal clients, but they're so like I teach people how to sell clothes online, and the thing is, instead of attracting entrepreneurs, most of the people are resellers, people that go to the thrift stores, buy things for 5 and sell for 30. So like whenever I sell anything, unless it's like dirt cheap, they do not want to buy. Like it's $99, they'll like flock, but when it's like $4.99, they'll just disappear, right? And like, but that's 90% of my audience. And and then and so it's just like I don't want to keep working with them, but at the same time, I should be helping them. But unless I make everything, if I do mass market and then just do dirt cheap, I could get sales. But I don't know. I just wanted to see what you think about that.
So I would the exactly what I said. So I would do the research. I'd go back and say, like, who is your competitors? Who is successfully doing what you want to do right now? I would learn more about them. I would learn more. How did they get the audience? How are they speaking? How are they talking about their items? How are they infiltrating the luxury market where they could sell things for $4.99 and not $99? Right? So I would look at who else is doing this right now successfully and start with that.
See, you know what? And I did do that. And there is one woman who's doing, and she's charging mine a lot more. But the thing is, her results are like phenomenally better than mine. So she's like, I make $10 million sales. My students make $5 million. And I'm like, you could make, I made $150,000 in 5 years, So it's like, does that mean that I should just stick to like that lower price point since her results are so much better? That's why she charges $9.95? Or do you think it's like, no, you just have to bring out more value to make that happen?
Yeah, I think you need to like pivot your value and Here's the thing, Chris, the thing that you just said to me is that you don't even know if you should be that person, right? Well, she's already doing it, so should I even do it, right? You have to claim it. And you have to decide, oh no, I'm going to also do that. The other thing that I want to say is don't get into this compare cycle where you're comparing yourself to this other person right now, because you're comparing yourself to what they've already accomplished. You don't know how they got there. It could have taken them 10 or 15 years. You could be on your way to being that same exact person. You have to just keep doing your thing, keep learning about your market, and keep focusing on attracting a higher caliber clients. I have a keynote that says stop attracting, or keynote that's how to stop attracting broke people. It's on YouTube. Go find that and listen to that.
Okay, I'm gonna try
Thank you,
that. And
Chris.
so you know what? You're right though. Like I should just get better results for myself and for my followers, and see her as a beacon of light. The number one thing is, and I don't know about you if you try to do this, is she's friends with all the huge gurus, like, like Russell Brunson, like all the huge people. She's always speaking on their stages. So when she goes on their stage, boom, she gets like 20,000 followers. And she's friends with all these big ass people. And, she's this really beautiful Caucasian woman. I'm sorry, I'm Asian. I don't mean to
Yeah.
sound bad, but she's
Yeah.
just cookie cutter perfect. And so I didn't need to not to compare myself to her, but just try to get better results and attract better. But I just want you to
Yep.
know, Allison, every time you show up on live, like you're freaking awesome. I could tell you're so good and genuine. But the problem is a lot of people invested in like really bad coaches and spent so much money. So now they're like, it's even so hard to even give a little money to like really amazing coaches like you, because we already freaking got burned by these overpriced, over jealous, like these coaches that promise us 10x return. And you know what I'm saying? But I just wanted you to
Yeah.
know that. And thank you for answering my
Oh
question.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, I absolutely know that. That is definitely what's happened. It's definitely part of people have overspent with people that overpromise and underdelivered, and it makes it challenging for the other people. But you know what? That's why we just got to keep showing up, because we're here for the long haul. You know what I mean? So okay, so I want to wrap up. The two last things I wanted to talk about were shit. Stay the course. So that's actually my number 5, but I'll think of my number 4 in a second. So stay the course, right? Keep showing up. Do not make decisions out of fear. If you're making fear-based decisions, if your energy is I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm worried, right? The people that are around you are going to feel that energy, and they're also going to be afraid. They're also going to have that fear, right? And you're going to attract people with fear-based mindsets. So don't make decisions from fear. A really great example of this is we have an event coming up in Buffalo, New York. At our event is going to cost me a lot of money, right? It's a big investment. And my brain is somewhat nervous about this investment. My brain says this is a little scary. This is a lot of money that's going out. Am I sure I want to do this? Am I sure I want to take this risk right now? But the reality is that even if we weren't going into a recession, or if I didn't have a belief we were going into a recession, would I still do the event? I would, right? The only nervousness that is coming into play is, are people going to buy tickets in a recession? Are people going to travel in a recession? Am I going to be screwed because of this, right? That's where my fear is playing in. But if I would do it regardless of the recession, should I do it? Then yes, right? So I'm not going to make a decision to pull back in a situation where I want to be stable. I want to be visible. I want to be that pillar, right? I want to be somebody that keeps showing up. So I'm going to keep doing our live events, right? So that is super important to me, is stay the course. We had a plan to do an event in October in Buffalo. Stay the course. Keep showing up, because guess what's going to happen? There's going to be people who don't do events, that are going to pull back on doing events during recessions, during economic hardship. And I'm not going to be one of them, right? I will continue to do exactly what I said I was going to do. And I literally cannot think of my number 4 thing that I was going to talk about. So that's okay though. This was a lot of good stuff, a lot of good value here. We talked about a lot of things. So I'm like looking at my list to see if I forgot anything. So I am going to let you guys go. I hope this was super helpful to you guys. If you need support, you need help with anything, please let me know. I am here for you. Everyone have a wonderful day, and do me a favor, if you enjoyed today, if you thought today's meeting was really good, if you can go make a post about it, and share that you were part of the Moneymaker meeting today and that you would advise other people to jump on it in the future, then please do that for me. That would be helpful. All right. Love you guys. Bye.